Jezebel was infamous in her determination to blot out the worship of Jehovah. O textoi acute miritra longo, Tyrian 1136 glassware, and purple dyes, and was a trading center for the overland caravans as well as a great import-export depot. Along with this industrial and commercial growth came riches, conceit, and pride. Her merchants and tradesmen boasted of being princes and honorable ones of the earth. Issa 23. 8 Tyre in time also developed an attitude of opposition to Jehovah and conspired with neighboring nations against God's people. PS 83. 2-8 So it was her bold defiance of Jehovah that eventually brought upon the city adverse judgment, downfall, and destruction. In the latter part of the 9th century BCE, Jehovah took note of this city's arrogant attitude. He therefore warned her that she would be paid back in kind for robbing his people of their gold, silver, and many other desirable things that she had used to beautify her temples. There was also to be an accounting for Tyre's having sold God's people into slavery. Job 3. 4-8. Am 1. 9, 10. Later the prophet Isaiah recorded a further pronouncement against Tyre, which indicated that she would be forgotten for 70 years. Issa 23. 1-18 Years thereafter the prophet Jeremiah included Tyre among those nations that were singled out to drink the wine of Jehovah's rage. Job 25. 8-17, 22, 27. 27. 2-7. 47. 2-4 Since the nations mentioned in the prophecy of Jeremiah were to serve the king of Babylon 70 years. Job 25. 8-11 This suggests that both the prophecy of Isaiah and that of Jeremiah related to Nebuchadnezzar's campaign against Tyre. Also through Ezekiel, a contemporary of Jeremiah, Jehovah pointed to calamity for Tyre at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. Ez 26. 1. 28. 19 Though Tyre had been compared to a pretty ship with multicolored sails and deck coverings and a prow inlaid with ivory, she would sink in the open sea. Ez 27. 3-36 Tyre's king, apparently the line of Tyrian rulers, haughtily boasted, I am a god. In the seat of God I have seated myself. But he was to be removed as profane and destroyed by fire. Ez 28. 2-19. Destruction of city. In the course of Nebuchadnezzar's long siege against Tyre, the heads of his soldiers were made bald from the chafing of their helmets, and their shoulders were rubbed bare from carrying materials used in the construction of siege works. Since Nebuchadnezzar received no wages for serving as his instrument in executing judgment upon Tyre, Jehovah promised to compensate him with the wealth of Egypt. Ez 29. 17-20 According to the Jewish historian Josephus, the siege lasted 13 years against Apion, I. 156, and it cost the Babylonians a great deal. Secular history does not record exactly how thorough or effective Nebuchadnezzar's efforts were. But the loss in lives and property to the Tyrians must have been great. Ez 26. 7-12. When the Israelites returned from Babylonian exile, however, the Tyrians were able to assist in supplying cedar timbers from Lebanon for a second temple, and they resumed their trade with the rebuilt city of Jerusalem. Ez 3. 7. Ne 13. 16. Tyre's conflict with Nebuchadnezzar, though great, was not to be the complete end for Tyre. A later prophetic pronouncement indicated that, though Tyre would build a rampart and pile up silver and gold, Jehovah himself would destroy her completely. Zech 9. 3, 4. Nearly 200 years after Zechariah's prophecy was given, it was fulfilled. In 332 BCE Alexander the Great marched his army across Asia Minor and, in his sweep southward, paused long enough to give his attention to Tyre. When the city refused to open its gates, Alexander in his rage had his army scrape up the ruins of the mainland city and throw it into the sea, thus building a causeway out to the island city, all of this in fulfillment of prophecy. Ez 26. 4, 12. Diagram, Vol 2, p. 531 With his naval forces holding the Tyrian ships bottled up in their harbour, Alexander set about constructing the highest siege towers ever used in ancient Otextoi acute Miritra Longo, 1137 Ukal Ukal. One to whom Agur spoke the words found in Proverbs chapter 30. Ukal may have been a son or disciple of Agur, but nothing definite is known about him. PR 30. 1. Ul. One of the sons of Bani who sent away their foreign wives and sons in response to Ezra's counsel. As 10. 10, 11, 34, 44. Ulai. A watercourse flowing through or near Shushan Susa in Elam. Along the Ulai, Daniel received the vision of the ram and the hagoat. It cannot be determined whether the prophet actually went there from Babylon or was transported to that location in a visionary way. Diet 1-3, 6, 16 conjectures about the Ulai vary considerably, and identification is difficult because rivers in the vicinity seem to have changed course somewhat through the centuries. One view is that the Ulai is the Kakha River. According to another, it was an artificial canal to the En or Eni of Shushan connecting the Kakha with another river. Al-Mulayam. 1. Father of Bedan. Of the tribe of Manasseh,